Well, hello, friends, and welcome to yet another wonderful conversation with my close friend and mentor, Tomei Schnitzius. As you know, we have touched on a whole range of topics so far in our conversations. And this is going to be, I think, the first of several where we go deeper into certain specific issues. The one that strikes me as really pertinent is the whole issue of intuition, and that is how we respond to those things that, in my own presentations, I've called these intuitive hits that we get. These just little voices or little nudges, etc., that sometimes can be extraordinarily important, oftentimes are ignored. Um, but should we really ignore them? And how much can we make of them? So, Tomei, welcome. I'm
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
glad to have you here. And
Great to be back.
good. Well, fire away. Yeah. let-
Okay, well, intuition, that covers quite a wide range of opportunities here because intuition can come to us in so many different ways. Um, it is kind of that nudge, that little voice that's usually pretty quiet that in any given situation might give you kind of a sense of which direction to go, what to say, what not to say, maybe how to act, um, how not to act. It's any number of things, but there's always seems to be a little bit of a sense that comes with it. And that sense can come in different ways. So we've talked about the mental, physical, and emotional bodies. And we've talked a little bit about the energetic body as well. Some might look at that as the spiritual body. Um, Light body, any other kind of names such that gives you a sense of it's outside of yourself, your physical self in a way. But each body, I'm going to suggest anyway, has an intuitive sense to it. And so if we kind of take them apart a little bit and then go into each one, uh, it'll give us a little bit more of an understanding, hopefully, of where you might be more aware in your daily walk and your journey, and maybe even some difficult choices that have to be made, or even simple choices that have to be made. Where is this nudge coming from? And can you notice the difference between an intuitive heart sense as opposed to an intuitive mind? So I'm going to go into both of those and break down some of these bodies for us. So, an intuitive mind um, understanding, and this isn't mental, this is just an intuitive mind understanding, is more a description or a definition. So, and that's based upon your program once again. So, if um, you're faced with a choice, what what the intuitive mind is going to do is try to keep you in the choices you've always made, based upon the program and experiences you had when the program was developed. So if I go to work a certain way every day, and I have various other ways I could get to work, but because my program says that you stay within the same framework every single day, you go the same way, you're most familiar with that. Don't ever go off of that road or that way of getting to work. And if you start doing it, the mind will come in almost instantaneously saying, "What are you doing? Why are you making this choice? This is not good." And you'll get even a feeling in your emotional body or your physical body that follows up right afterwards, like a stressor almost. So when the intuitive mind comes in to to assist you to make choices, there's a certain level of programming that's taking place. And if you go against that program, and I don't mean fight it or anything, I just mean that you make a different choice than the program wants you to make, your body, your physical body will automatically respond, and so will your emotional body, because it's trying to get you back on track of being in that same mind intuitive choice. And so if you decide, well, I'm going to go down this block this time, as soon as you start trying to make the right hand turn, for instance, it'll come in instantly and tell you, no, go straight ahead. What are you doing? You're going the wrong way. Even if there's traffic on the road and you're like, well, I think I'll go this other way. If you try and go the other way, even though you're kind of making a good choice because you know there's a lot of traffic there, there's still going to be a stressor because it's going to be a choice that's being made that's abnormal to you compared to what you normally make. And I would almost suggest you maybe try it someday. If a lot of you driving to work, go ahead and give yourself a chance to feel what it's like to stay on the same path, the same journey, the same programmed drive, and keep going for a while. Then all of a sudden, make that right hand or left hand turn and see what happens. It'll probably be very uncomfortable. And even you might get like, what are you doing? This is stupid. You should be going straight ahead. Well, there's traffic up ahead. Oh, no, no, that's not going to last very long. If you go this way, it's going to take you longer. I'm telling you, it's going to take you longer. And so there's, it's almost like a nagging. It's almost like, something that's there is trying to pull you back. You might say that's intuitive because a lot of people have asked me over the years, it's like, how do I know the difference between the voice of my mind and the voice of my heart? And it's very difficult, but I would suggest that the voice of the mind, of course, is more programmed, it's more defined. It's a kind of a commonplace choice that you're making all the time over and over again. And when you veer off of that choice, kind of a little play on words there for driving, if you veer off of that, then there's a immediate reaction inside that's going on. If the heart's involved, I'm going to suggest to you there's a softness to it. There's a choice that you're going to make that really doesn't have any consequences per se. It's just a choice to have a new experience. The heart isn't judging whether it's a good or bad choice. The heart's just saying, no, go ahead, go this way. And the mind's going to say, no, don't do that. Go, keep going straight. And your heart's like, no, it's okay. Just go this way. And sometimes if you listen to your heart, I'm not saying this might happen, but you actually might go a different way and see that there's a bagel shop you've never seen before and you love bagels and you didn't even know it was only a block away. And you stop in there and you buy a bagel and the woman's, I've never seen you here before. And well, it's kind of funny because I've lived here for like 20 years, but you've never driven down that road. You didn't even know it existed. And as Bill's laughing, this is kind of a laughing matter because the intuitive mind is like really serious, really straight, really, no, no, just keep going. The heart's like, oh, let's go have some fun and just go a block away and see what happens. It's almost like bringing childlike energy back into the situation instead of being so serious about which way you definitely have to go. I have a story about this, and it actually does have to do with going a different way. And Bill's lived up here in the mountains where I'm at, and there was a woman that I had in my that I was serving many years ago, and she was fixated on her program, of course, and I just said to her, so you know, just to see if you can make different choices in your life, just to see if you can make different choices. How do you get to work every day? She says, well, I always drive the same way. Oh, really? Which way do you go? I go up I-70. You go up I-70, get off at the first cars. Yeah, that's what I do every single day. Okay. I want you to go a different way each day. And she goes, well, there's not that many ways to go. And I said, I know, that's the whole point. It's like you can either go up I-70, you can go take the damn road, or you can
Yeah.
go up Swan Mountain and go over the top. And like there's a pass up there. It's beautiful. And I said, just do it. Just go ahead and see what happens. and see, I want you to see how you feel when you do these things. So, long story short, I mean, she tried everything, of course, and she was amazed because she had never even driven on Swan Mountain before. She didn't even know that there was a pass. She didn't know how beautiful it was. So she took it like 3 days out of the week so she could just stop at the top, take park up there, and look out over the lake and the mountains and stuff. And I said, what did that do for you? And she said, what do you mean? I said, so when you showed up at work, did you show up differently? And she was the owner. And she says, yeah. She says, I was so much happier. Instead of going in traffic on I-70 and just going as fast as I could, get off the exit and so on and so forth. So we don't know what is waiting for us when we allow the intuitive heart to come in, and that little voice that usually comes in right away says, no, 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 just do this. It'll be fun. You might enjoy it. You might see something you never thought you would ever see. You might run into some people you would have never met if you wouldn't have stopped in the bagel shop and gotten the bagel that you'd never seen before. There are so many possibilities and opportunities that are presented to us when we kind of shake up our mental capacity of always having to be programmed to do the same thing over and over again. And there's definitely sensations and feelings. So if it's a program, the mental is going to fight you in what you're doing. You'll feel the stress, and the stress is then in the physical body, and you'll start feeling your cells or your body tighten in some way, for instance. And then there will even be an emotion of like, gosh, I hope I made the right choice. So you're judging yourself before you even are going anywhere. And so all three bodies are being entertained by the program that you've chosen in your life of always doing the same thing over and over again. And then you have the heart choice. And the heart choice isn't stressful because you don't even know what's going to happen. Now, there could be stress in not knowing what's going to happen. Yeah, I understand that. However, the heart just wants to play. It just wants to go out and have some fun. So it's going to say, no, 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 go the other way. And it's kind of a soft voice. It's not a very, strong, stringent kind of way of talking to you. And you can feel the difference just in that alone. You don't even have to be in your physical body or your emotional body. You can just sense in the moment that there's a different kind of feeling to it. And I like to say it's a welcoming or a softness kind of feeling instead of a harsh kind of voice that says, no, 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 you got to do this way. And when you do that and you go a different way, it can be a little bit stressful, of course, because you're not accustomed to where you're going. Let's say if you're driving a different direction, but you're more aware than you ever were before because the other way you went, you don't have to be aware. You just are programmed to just go straight ahead. You get there, you get out of your car, you go to work, and then somebody will say, well, how was your drive? Oh, it's the same as it is every day. Okay. So there's no experience. It's the same as it is every day. And somebody would say if you decided to go the other way, how was your drive? Oh my God, I took this other turn and I didn't know this was there. And then I went and had a bagel. And so as you're explaining this, there's like a warmth to it or an excitement to it that underlays what it is that you chose. And your physical body is now in tune with it, which means it's a little bit more energetic. It's like it's wanting to feel this over again because it's something new that you felt. And then there's an emotion that comes with it usually. Now, let's say you take that turn, as I talked about, and you didn't see the bagel place, but all of a sudden you take that turn and somebody hits you with their car. And you're like, damn it, see, I shouldn't have gone that way. This caused me to get in an accident. So you're already placing judgment upon yourself that you're the one that caused the accident and the person that did you didn't. And it's like, it's amazing how the mind will bring you back to going the same way again because it has you judging yourself. Instead, you know, so this guy hits you and you get out of your car, kind of a little gruff, you're going to face this guy who just hit you and he's not getting out of his car. You walk out of his car and he's having a heart attack. It's just a supposed situation, okay? He's having a heart attack. You open up the door and he looks up at you. You're like, oh my God. And you dial 911 and you get the people there and they save his life. And if he hadn't hit you in that moment, it went maybe gone someplace else or across a bridge into the river or whatever. You became the one that saved his life. So all of a sudden, you've made a friend for life. You've made somebody that will always contact you at Christmas. They'll always try and get a hold of you in some way because of you. They look at it as because of you, they're still alive. And you don't worry about the accident anymore. Yeah, it's kind of a pain. You got to go get your car fixed and insurance companies and all that stuff. We know how it works. But the point is like that doesn't matter anymore. There's this sense of serving somebody and somebody being served that has taken place. And it's almost like the universe, your heart knew that. And it had you make that turn because they knew that this was going to happen for you. It's not necessarily that things are predestined. It just means there's opportunities in consciousness that can take place if we allow ourselves to listen to our heart, because our heart has those opportunities in there for us because it can feel the sense of the energy that's all around it and knows what's the best for all concerned. Now, I just said a lot in this last section, and it was just a simple choice, a simple choice. It wasn't this, you know, oh my God, here comes, a monster walking down the street and I can't go straight. I gotta go right. No, this is just a simple choice that you're having in life that allows you to either go straight or to take a right. And to take a right feels a bit uncomfortable at first, but you listen to your soft voice and you allow yourself to go. And any number of things can happen. We don't know. Yeah, the accident could happen, like I said. The bagel shop could be there. Old lady crossing the street gets hit, and you're there to see it. And you get out of your car to go help, and you're the only one that knows CPR, and so you're able to help her. There's all kinds of opportunities and situations that can happen, and if we trust our heart and we trust our little voice that's an intuitive voice, we can become participants in that. Or we can just go to work and have a dull day and not care about what's going on in the world at all. We just get mesmerized in our program and not live life. We're really not living life at that point. So simple things intuitively that can take place cover a wide range of opportunities, but they also cover the three different bodies. Eventually the intuitive can be used because you're using it, you're by listening to it, you're using it, you're allowing it to happen, your awareness is becoming more keen. And so as things develop, as you continue to listen to it more, you start recognizing that there's a lot of things and choices I'm making that I would have never have made before. And I'm not saying they're all turning out, like butterflies and unicorns. But the point is that I'm starting to experience things in ways I've never experienced them before. And so you start trusting this intuitive voice more and more. You're starting to jump out of your program more and more. You're starting then to feel and sense in your physical body more and more. You're starting to have emotions that maybe you would have never had. For instance, helping the person when you walk away, you've helped them and you walk away and you start crying. You become emotional because it was really a tough situation and you were kind of in shock, but you were able to hold yourself together to help somebody. But as you walk away, all the emotions finally hit you and you've never felt that way before. Any number of things can change in our three bodies: mental, physical, and emotional. All of it, I'm going to suggest, is a good thing when we listen to the heart's intuitive guide. No matter what happens, it's always a good thing. When we listen to the mind intuitive guide, it's always the same thing. It's never different. And so for us to start kind of retraining ourselves to listen to something different it takes a little time. I know I think we've talked about this in maybe another podcast, but the point is the gut reaction, right? We said, there is this feeling in the gut that I should have did this and I didn't do it. I listened to my mind, and it didn't work out so good, and I should have listened to the other my other voice the first time, my gut reaction. And I'm not saying you should have or shouldn't have, but the point is that you'll never know because that situation isn't going to present itself again. That experience is gone. And
So, May, have you ever had the experience of a really audible voice in your head
yeah,
saying, "Do this, do
yeah,
that," etc.?
yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah,
And I was going to kind of get
share
into
that.
that. Yeah, I was going to get into that a little bit because I think um, as we develop that intuitive voice in our heart and start to trust it, we start hearing other voices in consciousness. So one of the things we've talked about in past podcasts is the energetic realm and the consciousness realm and the ability of beings that are waiting there to contact us and be with us. And um, if we don't develop that inner voice in our heart, that's kind of the direct link to higher consciousness, if you will, or to the consciousness around us. And in that consciousness around us are various, um, you call them masters, ascended beings. There's so many different names for them, and I'm not going to get real religious here or anything like that. But let's just say you have even past friendships of people who have passed away. They're in that realm as well, and they can actually assist you. They can remind you on certain things. Some people see a butterfly, a certain kind of butterfly reminds them of somebody that's passed away, or even a pet or something. Um, and it comes right in the moment that they're going to make a choice, and they kind of listen to the feeling they're having because of what they're seeing and sensing. Um, that's all available to us. It's out there. We just never see it because we haven't allowed ourselves to see it and become aware of it. And it takes time to develop that sense. It's kind of like a sixth sense, as they call it. And it's going past your five senses. So it's not something you can taste or touch or see or hear. Um, it's something that goes past that. It's a feeling, a sensation within yourself, a knowing that the person that passed away is now speaking to you. You just can feel their energy field. That's an intuitive voice as well. It's an intuitive nudge. In some cases, you will actually hear a voice. Nobody else is going to hear the voice. So it would probably behoove you to not tell the person next to you, did you hear that? They'll think you're nuts. um, Especially if they don't know who you are. They'll be, if they're sitting in next to you in the L going downtown Chicago, they'll probably move over to their seat on the other side. Um, but we never know when that voice is going to come to us. And there's another incident right there. So you're on the L going downtown Chicago, and you're more intuitive than you ever have been before. And the voice that you've listened to a few times that you finally trust says, "Get off at the next stop." And you're like, "What? No, I still got like 4 stops to go." No, get off at the next stop. Get off now. And you can feel the sensation of it. And you get off the L, you get off the next stop, and all of a sudden the train goes off the tracks before it gets to the next stop. And you find out this later. Some people have gotten nudges not getting on an airplane and then airplane crashed. Some people don't go over a bridge and the bridge falls down. There's all kinds of energetic beings out there that will touch you and be with you and give you a sense of compassion and a sense of protection, almost, if you will. If you will connect with them, if you will listen to them through your heart, um, there's there's probably thousands and thousands and thousands of um, recorded situations like that, where people can tell you that this happened and that happened and so on and so forth. And most people just kind of wave it off as, that's just something they just felt maybe or something. No, there's no way that they were contacted or anything like that. Well, I'm here to tell you that most of the podcasts I do are channeled podcasts, just to be straight with everybody. I mean, I'm speaking to you with my eyes open right now, but a lot of the information that's coming through me comes through me very um, instantaneously. And sometimes I'm saying things that I don't even know where they're coming from, but they make sense completely, as Bill would probably say. You know, it just flows really well. So my intuitive voices are with me constantly because I've been doing this for 30 years. So I'm able to listen and hear and notice what it is they wish for me to say, to act, to be with, um, to go places, to be in certain places, to travel, for instance, um, to assist other people, not to assist sometimes. Um, you know, sometimes I get a hit of a homeless person, I'll go over and help them out. And sometimes I see another homeless person, and they're like, don't do it because he's going to buy a bunch of drugs. I trust the voice. I trust that I would love to be able to help everybody, but not everybody is supposed to be helped. And this could be a segue at some point to a healing podcast because not everybody else is going to be healed. They're not ready to be healed. There's lessons to be learned with what's going on for them. So this is very similar to that, where not everybody is ready to be served in a way that will help them out of their situation. They haven't learned enough in their situation yet to move on. And that's not a judgment against them. Actually, it's a loving act to let them continue on their journey so they get out of it all they can to help them master themselves. Those voices within us help us in that regards. Now, in the beginning of me learning this, listening to my voice, listening to my intuitive opportunities, it's kind of funny in a way. You know, we talked about the L going downtown Chicago. Um, I was going through some really serious situations in my life. And at the time, I was working downtown Chicago. And at lunchtime, I would go for long walks because I needed to clear my head to be able to work properly. I needed to get a lot of the emotion out that I was going through. And so I would start walking. And what would happen is I would let them tell me which way to go. And I would do it purposely so I could listen and hear. And it would be as much as coming up to a stoplight, which, as if you've ever been downtown anywhere in any big city, there's a red light at every block. So it's
Yep.
not like you can walk 10 blocks and then run into a light. It's like every single block there's a light. And of course, it turns red, yellow, and green. I would stop at every corner and ask them which way they wanted me to go. And I would allow myself to attune myself to the feeling, the sensation of what I was getting, and I would listen. And sometimes I would go against what I'd be listening to, and the result would be amazing. It would be, I was doing it purposely because I wanted to see what was happening the other way versus if I did listen to them and go the other way, that I actually went to see what it was over there. And it was amazing to me some of the things that I would run into. I'd never see a cathedral that was downtown at all. But if I would have taken the left they wanted me to take, I would have walked right by it and would have been able to go inside and sit down and have some peace because it's so quiet inside these churches in the middle of the day. If I went to the right, I would go down to the street into a really gnarly looking area. It would give me a sense of density and maybe even a sense of fear and non-welcoming and so on. Put myself even in danger. And so I could get a sense of trusting what it is they were trying to do for me and teach me, you know, how to listen to them. It was always the same feeling as far as listening to them. There was never a energetic feeling or a sensation in my body that said, "Oh, they're really strong now," or "They're less strong now," or something like that. It was always the same. And I believe they were trying to show me to build trust in that same voice, to know that when it's present, to listen. And eventually, as things went on over the years, actually, then other voices started coming in. And as they came in, I was able to sense a difference in the voice. I was able to sense a difference in the intuitive ability of what I was sensing as far as who this might be, what it felt like to me. And then eventually, if I had a group of voices, let's just say, or beings that were trying to assist me, and one would speak, I would know which one it was because there was a difference in their energetic voice, if you will, their intuitive feel, and but only slightly, but ever so slightly would key me in to who it was, and I would know instantly who it might be. That takes some refinement, that takes some time of working through it and feeling it and sensing it for yourself. In the beginning, your mental voice is going to be way stronger. It's going to be it's going to be on you constantly. Even when you make a different choice and you say, see, now watch what happens. See what's going to happen as soon as you drive up to the next block. You better be careful because something bad's going to happen. It just keeps going after you and after you and after you. And the heart's just sitting there waiting for anything to become aware of. It's not, doesn't care. It just doesn't care.
Please explain to our listeners um, the amount of time that it took you, or what the vehicle was that took you to, in fact, pay attention to this intuitive voice. Because I know you went
Right.
through a really disturbing experience in your life that brought you back to good old ground zero.
Absolutely
And
ground zero. Yeah.
yes, so what was it that both got you on this path and then got you really listening to that voice?
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing there are a lot of people who feel they don't know how to start with this. They don't know
Yeah.
how to pay attention to it.
So one of the keys, I'm going to say, and I learned this. This wasn't something I knew when I started, but one of the keys is to ask. Um, they're waiting to assist you, and when I say they, I don't. It could be anything out there that wants to help and wants to serve. Um, if you don't ask, they can't come. They can't interfere with your life. They're not allowed to. They're only allowed to come in if you ask them to come in. And even then, they're not allowed to have you make there's no agenda of you having to make certain choices. They're allowed to provide synchronicities, if you will, which are opportunities to see. So the first step really for me, because I was so down in my life, um, was basically show me the way. Just show me, help me see, help me feel, help me know. And be honest, Bill, and people out there, I still do that almost on a daily basis sometimes. Is when I am confused and I'm not quite sure, I just say I'm giving it to all you guys, and show me and let me be aware of what it is you really wish me to do, and I will do it. And I mean that when I say I will do it. I always follow through, and when no matter what they show me, if they say give this guy $500, I give him $500. I don't see it as $500. I see it as serving somebody. If they say, help this person or help that person or do something that's really off center, I do it. And I can tell you, it's never ended up, I don't know, maybe the word is badly, or it's never ended up hurting me or harming anyone else. It's always been some kind of upliftment or some kind of way that served that person. And I don't necessarily see that. I don't get to see the results of that. And that's another piece of it, quite frankly. I don't need to see the results of it. I know that I was a participant in this to serve. And however I can do that in assisting them to serve other souls as well, I'm all in. I'm just all in. And I've learned that over the years that's the greatest gift that we can actually place here on the planet is the openness of the heart. and to listen to source energy and to the guides um, in that way. So the first step is to ask for help, to ask for assistance. Most of us, when we get so down, it's when we finally get down on our knees and pray, is what most people are accustomed to, I guess, is to say, things get so bad that we don't know what to do anymore. And so we finally say, please God, or please whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, please help me. Please help me. Why not ask for that help all the time? Why is it only when things are so bad that we need some kind of comfort? Why can't we do that on a daily basis? Wake up in the morning and send a prayer out, if you want to look at it as a prayer, and say, let me be aware of how you wish me to walk my walk today. And leave it at that. Leave it open. And listen to the voice that comes to you. What shows up. It's the same thing. It's no different than listening to an intuitive voice intently, because we're kind of talking about doing it intently right now, to really discern between the voices that are happening in my mind and the voices in my heart. So I'm being more intentional and trying to become more aware of that, and so on and so forth. Well, there's also that sense of like, why don't I get the ball rolling? I'm not hearing anything when I first wake up. Sometimes you do. Maybe you hear the voice coming down, hey, mate, it's going to be a really tough day today. I've never heard that before, by the way, but you never know what can happen. Instead, you wake up and you're just grateful to be in the world again for another day. Allow me to be open to what is going to be in front of me today, so I can do your work. I can do my heartfelt work, whatever that might be. It doesn't mean it's going to show up the way you assume it should show up. Instead, usually, and I did this just like I know a lot of you out there have too. That's what I did. I was down and out. I was finished. I didn't want to be here anymore. And it was really close. I was that close. And at that point, something something strange happened to me, is all I'm going to say in that moment. I can't explain it because words can't explain the feelings and sensation I was having in the moment. And it's time for you to do something different, was kind of the voice that was coming to me. And it was all internal. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't an edict. It wasn't, you're going to do something different this time, kind of a thing. Is that it's going to be different this time. And it was soft. And it got to me because I got up and I finally decided that I was going to stay. And I had no idea what that meant at that time. I didn't even know within the next few months what it meant. Um, I just knew that at some point something was going to change, and I had to make choices to start helping that change take place. So yes, something drastic happened to me without question, and it was very tough. And it was that moment that brought me kind of to my knees, if you will, and I asked for assistance to help find my way. And it's been that way ever since. And I do it every day. I seriously, I do it every single day. Some people say, well, you just go and run every day and all that. That's not what I'm doing. Yes, I do. I run every single day. Very few days that I don't. If I'm injured or something, then probably I won't do it. But even days that I'm injured, I still go and run, because it's my moment to be with myself and with my guides and with my connections and so on. And I'm always in gratitude, and I'm always waiting to hear if there's something else for me to speak about or to be with or so on. And so my suggestion to everybody out there is, don't wait till something horrible happens to you. If something does, by all means, ask for guidance as best you can, but you have to ask. It's not going to be given to you. This is not how it works. You have to ask. You have to be humble. You have to open yourself up, because that's the way the energies come in. The energies aren't used for harming other people. If somebody harmed you, I need to have them go get this happen to them and da da. That's not going to happen. That's not how this works. It's the opposite. It's like, what have I done to have this happen to me? And can you please show me the way so I can regain my balance? It's humility. It's to look at yourself and watch and walk your walk in such a way that you can see it clearly, feel it clearly, become a part of it clearly, be a participant, open yourself up to all things that are around you to guide you and to assist you. And believe me, if you start training yourself to listen to these voices, your life is going to turn around drastically. Drastically. You won't even recognize your life eventually compared to where it was before. So, yes, to start off, you must ask for help and you must continue to ask when you become confused. You must continue to ask if, they might have said something to you, and being the 71-year-old person that I am, I'll totally forget what they just told me maybe 10 minutes ago. And I might have to ask again. Sorry, guys. You know my situation. Can you push forward the voices that you had not too long ago to let me know what is the guidance here? What is the feeling that I'm missing? Um, that was so strong not too long ago. Um, they know, I'm going to say, in the moment of your greatest despair, they already know what's going on. They already know what you're going through. You don't need to explain it to them. They already know. The energies that you're projecting out in your despair are going into all consciousness. They already know, but they can't do anything with you or assist you in any way unless you ask.
May I give an example? A year ago, I could very, very easily have died of a heart attack. Um, and I was having symptoms for 2 weeks prior to that, and thinking it was the cold weather, and thinking it was this. I had already manufactured all these reasons. But this hit me one evening while I was sitting here, literally in this chair, on this computer, and it was nice and warm in my office, and it wasn't cold, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the real thing. So my daughter bundled me up, and we were going to head to the hospital. We knew exactly where we were going to go. And we got to the end of our road, and we're going to turn on to a little bit more of a major road because ours is just a little side thing. And we got to that corner, and I looked straight ahead up the hill, partly just to see if any traffic was coming, but I looked up and I saw the lights of the fire station. Now, the fire station was a quarter of a mile away, and the hospital was 20 minutes away. Okay. That wasn't calculating in my mind. I saw the fire station, and because she would literally have the wheel turned to go to the hospital, and I said, go to the fire station. We went to the fire station. The fire station guys knew how to work on me, and da da da. They did first level stuff, which I knew they could do. And they called the ambulance people. Okay. And now they're all on this two-way radio thing and going back and forth. And we find out while I'm sitting at the fire station with the ambulance people there that if we had gone to the hospital couldn't have taken us because they were slammed. Okay. And they were turning away the ambulances and telling the ambulances, find another place. And we would have had no idea where to go. And I'm convinced that decision, that nudge, okay, it wasn't a voice that said, go to the fire station. It was,
Yeah, right.
I have been doing this so much
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I just respond. That saved my life because
yeah.
one thing led to another. And I ended up at the hospital the next day with the best heart surgery team in the Northwest.
Hmm.
Okay. Instead of dying or dead at the door of some other hospital and who knows where that would have been.
Yeah,
It wasn't the voice. It was
yeah. It's just a
just
feeling.
that
It's a sensation.
instantaneous
Yeah,
impulse.
yeah. And we all, a lot of us, even people I'm sure listening right now, have had those impulses. And sometimes we forget about what happened in those impulses, but they were dynamic. In the moment, in the moment, you kind of shake your head afterwards. It's like, why did I go this way instead of that way? Why did I choose this instead of that? Um, so on and so forth. And the way the universe compliments us, it compliments us when we listen. It seems like it's like a compliment. Like if you would have went the other way, for instance, um, maybe you wouldn't have died, but it wouldn't have been pretty, you know? um, not that what you went through anyway was pretty, but we, when we listen, things seem to just show up. And I've had this in the travels that Lisa and I have been doing. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. It's almost like deja vu's and things that happen where you've been in this place before, but now here you are again, and it's not a dream. It's actually reality. It's happening. It's like when you make the choices you make because you're listening, it's amazing how things seem to work out differently than what you thought would be if you would have made the other choice. They work out usually better because you're listening. Um, and it takes time to refine that. You had an instantaneous impulse, but you've also had impulses before that have kind of kind of trained you into trusting it, you
Yes,
know?
yes. I mean,
And there's
paying
yeah,
attention.
yeah. And
Yes.
so you now know what that feels like, and anytime it comes up, you're going to listen. Maybe sometimes it doesn't mean you're going to actually do what they want you to do, which is a learning period in itself, but at least you know the difference. And that's really important in this kind of intuitive guide that you have. Um, there's many other examples of this, but I think we've given enough of those at this point to give people an idea, at least of what to be looking for and how to begin. You want to always begin with asking in a humble way. You want to ask for something that you don't need. You want to ask for an experience, is what I'm going to say. You know, please, Lord, let me have that Cadillac. Well, that's not necessarily something you really need, you know. Um, but if it's like I just lost my house, please, Lord, help me find some place to be able to lay my head. And so um, we have those opportunities. When we reach out like that, don't be surprised if you are in that situation that all of a sudden somebody comes walk around the corner and drops a $100 bill into your basket because just because, and you never see them again. And so now you have some money to go sleep somewhere in a hotel. Um, these things happen when we ask from the heart, when we ask for something that will assist us in whatever way that might be. Usually, it's pretty much an instantaneous answer. When we're asking for some kind of material gain or something like that, that's not what this is about. This is about growth. This is about humility. This is about understanding ourselves within and how we can be a better human being. and how we can get out of situations that we're in, that we put ourselves in. However, we're asking for forgiveness and assistance to find our way. Um, that's different. That's humility. And so asking in humility is really important. And listening in humility is very important. Um,
Halfway in between, I mean, in the middle of this, you
yeah,
use the word synchronicity.
yeah,
And synchronicities just happen and happen and happen when you listen to these nudges. Okay. And you could,
absolutely.
if you pay attention
Yep,
to and consider it like rewarding yourself
yeah,
instead of the synchronicity being a miracle. Okay. It's just a natural consequence
yeah,
of trusting this voice, opening up this possibility, like you were talking about. Well, then there's the bagel, and at the store, and there's all this other, and the fabulous view on top of Swan Mountain. Okay,
yeah.
that's
Mhm.
right. There are, and trusting that the synchronicities themselves just start to pile up. Okay,
They start to
amazing,
pile up
amazing,
because you're
amazing.
listening, because
Yeah,
you're listening, and they want to let you know that they hear you, and they provide you an opportunity that's, say, beautiful, or something off center that you would have never seen or been aware of before, to let you know we're here with you. We are here with you always. All you have to do is ask. You know, I was just thinking while you were talking about synchronicities. There's this thing that I've been doing ever since the beginning, and not necessarily in the same way now as I was in the very beginning, but anytime I see a coin on the ground, I always pick it up. There's been one time that there was a bunch of change on the floor in the rec center where Bill knows where we go work out,
yeah,
and there was some clothes on the on the little stoop, and there's a bunch of change on the ground, and I'm looking down at him and laughing. I said, "Guys, come on." I'm not going to pick up any of this stuff. This is not mine. It's not meant for me. And it's funny because I had a picture in my mind. I knew who it was. And sure enough, this kid comes walking around the corner who works at Target, and he's disabled, and he just can't take care of himself really well. So I knew it was him, and I hadn't even seen him, but I just knew it was him. And I'm like, I picked up all the change and I put it on his clothes. So he makes sure he picked it all up. But this thing about change on the ground, um, I don't care if it's a penny, I don't care what it is. It's like you pick it up. I pick it up because in the beginning, when I had nothing, when I was really down and out and I had nothing, I would pick up coins and I put them on my heart and I'd say, "Thank you. Thank you for reminding me I have something." And now it's become a just an every time type of situation. Thank you for the abundance in my life. Every time I see a coin, I pick it up, put it on my heart, and say, "Thank you for the abundance in my life," because it's a reminder of abundance. It's not a reminder of money. It's a reminder of abundance. And there are times when I get it, um, and it's a sign also for me to share my abundance. I might pick up a quarter and I say, "Wow, that's a lot of abundance," instead of a penny, thank you. And they say, "No, we want you to give something to somebody soon." And I let it go. I don't know what that means. And then eventually, sure enough, something shows up and I feel it. I'm like, "This is who you want me to help out." And they say, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay." And there's never a hesitation anymore, because it's like the healing thing. It's like everything else we're talking about. It's a flow of energy. It's a flow of infinite amount of beauty and abundance and love and joy and whatever you want to call it. That's what this is. And if you listen to the voice, if you listen to the nudges, then you become a participant of that. And the feeling is amazing. It's like you actually become somebody that's creating synchronicities for the people that you're serving. They're like, where did you come from? I'm like, well, my parents had parents and parents that came from Germany. No, no, that's not what it's like, who are you? You know, who are you? It doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It does to me. Nah, doesn't matter. Just pass it on. There'll be a time when you have a little extra. Just pass it on. It's important.
What I'd like to do is bring this discussion to a close
Yeah.
because we've come to a perfect opener for the next one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
seriously, and you've no,
I'm
you
sure you're
said
going to tell me what that is. Is
yes, I am. I'm
that?
about to reveal this secret here, so it doesn't have to seem like a synchronicity. Okay, you said the words infinite abundance.
Yeah.
All right, that's a hard one to believe in when you live
Yeah.
in 3D.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, unbelievably hard to live in
Yeah.
because the paradigm is all about scarcity,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So let's pick up that thread, okay,
Okay.
in our next discussion
Sure.
and
I'd
see
love
how
to.
far we can take that because I think that would be an invaluable message and arena to get into.
Perfect. Yeah. I'd love to talk about that. That'd be awesome.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just so honored that we continue. I mean, I think this was the 10th conversation now that we've had together. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. 9 or 10, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Higher than many numbers are.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, and
You're welcome. Yeah.
I really look forward to our next conversation, Tomei. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
And folks, thank you for being with us. And
Yeah.
I know you've gotten a lot out of this, like I have. And please come back and join us again for the next one. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Thank you,
Bye
guys. See ya.
bye.